Hi everybody. I'm just going to do a quick get ready with me video. Getting ready to go up and help my parents probably work on their house, so I don't really want to do too much. Just a little bit of something to make me look a little better. I'm going to use the CC cream in light. It's got a color corrector, so it's great for how I'm kind of like red and splotchy. I also have a tiny bit of sunburn still going on. My allergies are acting up, so I've got some discoloration under my eyes. This CC cream is really good at kind of helping camouflage those things. I did not prime my face. I just went in with a lotion and waited about 15 minutes for that to kind of sink in. I used our Rose line facial lotion, but that sinks in really quick. So I'm just going to take a flat top kabuki and kind of stipple that on. And I've got a breakout over there. I'm just going to cover. So now that I have that on, I am going to go ahead and do just a little bit more concealing under my eye just because it is really dark right now for me. So I'm just going to use color stick in light ivory. I'm going to let that sit for a minute to just kind of warm up to like my skin's temperature a little bit before I blend it out with my fingers. While I'm doing that, I am going to do just a little bit of contouring with our contour stick. And it's easy, it just rolls right up. You can see it lasts quite a while. I've had this forever and it just takes barely anything. Probably partially because I'm so pale, but so just take and I start kind of at my hairline and just make a little notch that follows the contour of my cheekbone. And then I do have a couple of different brushes that I use to blend that out typically. One of them that I use is like a crown contour brush. The other one is going to be just this Real Techniques paddle brush. So I push it back towards my ear and then also up because I'm trying to lift that cheekbone. So I'm going to push it back and up and just kind of blend it out that way. Like I went a little heavier on this side. So what I can do to tone it down a little bit, I go in with that foundation or that CC cream brush and then just kind of stipple over it. And the remainder of the CC cream on here will help tone that down. So now that I've done that, my concealer is a little bit more warmed up, so I'm just going to take my ring finger and pat it out. So that's all the cream products that I plan on using on my face, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of set that real quickly. I don't really bake, I just lightly touch it with a powder to kind of set it. I'm going to use our transparent powder. It's a pressed powder, but it is transparent. So it just finishes it off really nicely for me without leaving a huge cast all over my skin. I don't need a ton of powder, so I'm just going to go in lightly with a fluffy brush. Start under my eye real quick. And then just kind of work out from there. I don't need to dip in a ton of times because I'm not going for like a bake or anything, just a light set. I'm going to actually use our 3-in-1 face palette. It has a bronzer, a highlighter, and a blush all in together. So it makes it really easy to do a fast face. So I'm going to go ahead and use a bronzer brush. And I'm just going to kind of go around the perimeter of my face and warm it up. I'm just going to continue down to my neck so that I blend out a little bit. Don't want any harsh lines. So this blush is actually really pigmented, so you don't hardly need any at all, especially if you're complexion is similar to mine, but it does really well for all complexions as well. So for my cheekbones, I have kind of a pronounced apple and high cheekbones, so I normally start kind of down here and just lightly swipe up. And kind of with your contour and your blush and your highlight, you're kind of trying to make a gradient. You don't want to set each thing right on top of each other. So I'm just trying to go right above where I set my contour down here with the blush. You'll probably notice if you are not ambidextrous that you have like one side of your face that you're able to do a little bit more easy than the others. I can almost always do my right side easier because I am right-handed. So I just kind of have to focus on trying to make those even before I feel a little bit comfortable. Just a quick face look there. And then I'm going to go in and use the highlighter on this. It's a really pretty like gold toned highlighter. It's actually probably a touch dark for me in my preference, but it still works really well. So I just go in and sweep that over my cheekbone area there, kind of up around my eye a little bit. And then I like to bring the tip of my nose down a little bit. So I'm going to highlight slightly underneath just the point. So it makes that area kind of pull forward. And then I'll just do some on my bridge. So then I'm actually going to use this same thing on my eyes, but I am going to prime my eyelids because I do have some discoloration and veins that show through, and I want that to all be an even canvas before I do that. I'm going to take Protofit. It's just a little tub like this. It's a glass tub, and the product is down in there. You can take your finger or concealer brush. I normally try not to get my hands all in stuff because I am horrible about spreading it everywhere. Knowing that anything that I get on my hands is probably going to get somewhere else, typically go with a brush. So I'm just going to apply that all over the lid. Just a thin coat will get it done. And you can kind of see that it's camouflaging that discoloration. So I am a beauty influencer with Farmasi. So all the products I'm going to be using this time are Farmasi, but I'm also just a makeup enthusiast in general. So I do have other products that here and there I will use in other videos. But where this is just a quick one, I'm just going with my little daily go-to items so that you can kind of get an idea of what I would normally do. I'm just going to go in straight with the palette. So with this, what I do is I use the bronzer as like a transition shade. So I'm just going to use a fluffy brush and start that in my transition. I do have slightly hooded lids. So if you have hooded eyes, a little trick that you can use is to just bring that transition up higher so that it kind of creates more lid. But this is just like a really nice neutral shade. You can blend it down so that it's not super bold, or you can add extra so that it's more of a contrasting color, but you can kind of see nothing bronzer. And I'm just going to use kind of a light windshield wiper motion for the most part in placement on this. Over towards the corner, I do want to lift my eye, so I try not to go out as much. I just try to go there and kind of stop. That way it'll lift my eye at the edge. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm just going to go in with the pink color. And I'm going to just use a little flat. It's not quite a concealer brush, but it's just really little too. So now what I want to do is I'm going to use that same brush that I did with the transition. I'm going to go in and kind of use a little packing motion to just add a little bit more towards the inner and outer corners for some depth. And with this being a fluffy brush, it's not going to carry as much as if you did like a packing brush, so it's still going to be kind of a light effect. Okay, so then I'm just going to kind of blend all of those areas together. Don't want any harsh lines. I want it to look pretty natural. So that's where we are right now. The only other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this highlight that's in here and go right below my brow bone. Where I have hooded eyes, you don't want to go too low or else it's going to make this hood really pronounced. So I literally just stick right below the brow bone to kind of pull that area up a little. And for that, I'm just going to use a small brush and dip into that highlight in the center. So then the other thing that I'm going to do is I am going to kind of tame my brows and add just a little bit of color to them so that they really frame my eyes. And for that, I really love, it's an Morphe M413. It's got like these almost boar's hair bristles. I think they're synthetic, but they're really stiff just like that. And then it's got a spoolie on the other side. So that's really good for taming and adding in color. So I normally just brush them kind of up and out. I do have okay brows. They're just kind of thin in some areas, which if you waxed when you were younger or tweezed, tends to happen. I'm going to go in with our pomade, and this is in dark. I'm just going to take that kind of stiff side angled brush in, and I like to just start kind of towards the bottom and brush up so that that color kind of gets dispersed throughout the brow. I don't start at the very front because you don't want like a block for a brow. I do like them to look a little bit more natural. I just kind of work my way from the front towards the end, just lightly tapping back in for more color as I need it. My brows are never going to be exactly the same. They just don't have the same fullness on both sides. I do try to get them pretty close, but I think that's what we're going to wind up with today. Just go right in at my lash line. This one did get a little bit thicker than what I wanted, which is no big deal. I'll just take a brush and smudge it a little bit, and it'll kind of disperse that thick line. Okay, so I've got that on my top lid, and I'm just going to go in and find that little brush that I used the highlighter on that was just a little tiny baby brush. So right here. And I'm going to take that and I'm just going to smudge right on that line. So I've got that color, so it just draws a little bit of my eye color out. I have hazel eyes, so I've got some grays and some greens and some browns all in there. So it does kind of help me like pull out different colors. And it looks a little bit different every day. So I'm going to go in with number 2, which is like a dark navy. I'm actually going to go ahead and do it in my waterline, and this is a waterproof one. But it's the Express waterproof eye pencil. And it rolls on really smoothly. And I love that I just don't have to put like a lot of pressure around my eye. So just that on the lower waterline. And then I think I'm going to do the deep black. This has like a really nice stiff bristle silicone brush. Put the applicator in at the lash line, kind of wiggle and move up. You can already tell with just one. Now the only thing is, if you want waterproof, this is not waterproof, it's water resistant. I would suggest they have B-Fit is their waterproof line, and I really like that applicator too. It's a little bit more contoured, and the bristles are a little bit more like kind of like a teddy bear brush versus the silicone like this, if I remember correctly. But I do like the contour on that one really well. I feel like it helps me really get on there, hug my eyeline, and just push those lashes up. I do not typically use an eyelash curler. I do have long lashes, but they're not very thick normally. So the mascara I use, I just like to enhance the length and add some volume. So, but I'm looking down into the mirror because where I do have longer lashes, I typically have issues with it getting onto my eyelid. And looking down kind of keeps those lashes away from my lid. And I'll just kind of focus down until everything is dry. And then I don't have as many issues with it getting on my lid. And then I did have a little piece get on my face, so I'm just going to use a spoolie and kind of knock that off real quick. Now that I have my face finished, I'm going to go in. I'm going to use our B-Fit setting spray. It is the waterproof one. So I'm just going to mist all over my face on that and then let it dry. And then today I'm just going to use our Miss Sparkle lip gloss. This is number 3. Now this is a gloss, so it does transfer. And it's a very sheer tint, but it feels really nice and moisturizing, and it's got that sparkle in there, so it does kind of draw the eye. So that's it. That's my look for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this and have a great day.